Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me in the somatic yin-based program today. I absolutely love yin-based yoga because it is slow, and with that slowness, you can really sink into muscles, tendons, ligaments in a way that you can't do if you are moving too quickly through the yoga processes. So, yin is all about holding a pose anywhere from 1 to 3, even upwards of 4 to 5 minutes, while you really allow your body to release those muscles that you are holding tension in. So it's so important to give your body that time to really sink in and release. And when you do this, you will often find that thoughts, emotions, and memories will come to mind while you are holding these poses. Now, this isn't always the case, but sometimes it is the case. And when you experience that, just treat it as a breadcrumb, right? It is something that is stored in that particular part of your body, right? The body keeps the score always your body is keeping the score. So any big traumas, little traumas, anxiety, depression, um, anything that happens, that could be physical trauma, that could be emotional trauma, that could be mental trauma, all of it is held and stored within our body, within our muscles. So I often get asked why people are having recurring issues with their muscles, their particular, like their lower back, their shoulders, something like that. And I spent over 15 years as a clinical massage therapist. So I did not do the frou-frou spa massages. I was actually helping people move through their chronic pain, right? And a lot of times that stemmed from them having stored something in their body. Again, this could be big trauma, this could be little trauma. It doesn't have to be something huge. It could be a car accident, it could be a work injury, could be that time that something really devastating emotionally happened, right? All of it is locked within your body. And when you give yourself the space and the time is so important to slowly start unwinding those muscles, unwinding those stories, unwinding those beliefs, thought patterns, whatever the case might be. This is just a breadcrumb for you to follow, right? And it starts with awareness. So just be aware if those things are coming up for you during this practice, because it is completely normal, right? Your body is trying to communicate with you in the only way that it knows how, right? Primarily through pain, but then also those thoughts, those emotions, those memories will start to spring up when you're holding these poses. So you want to hold the poses anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes. You want to really focus on the breathing. After about a minute or two, you'll notice that you'll actually be able to sink deeper into those muscles. And so that's great. That's wonderful. It means that things are opening up. Now, if you haven't done yoga a lot or at all, you might need to do some additional work in terms of opening up your muscles. And what I mean by that is that you might have to repeat this stretch multiple times. You might have to hold it for longer. It might take you a little bit longer to sink into those muscles, to sink into those stories, whatever is coming up for you. Okay, so the time, like I said, time is so important. Give yourself the gift of time, right? Time is the most precious thing that we have, and you deserve all of the time in the world, right? You deserve this time to repair yourself, to heal yourself, so that you can go on and lead a pain-free life, lead a more aligned life, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. So this is all a process of realignment and really sinking into your body. That's what somatic work is all about, is sinking into your body, because you can't make those big strides that you might be wanting to make unless your body feels safe. And when your body feels safe, then things will start bubbling up for you. So it's all about creating that sense of safety, giving yourself that time, that graciousness, and most importantly of all, don't judge yourself for whatever comes up, whatever emotions come up, whatever thoughts come up, whatever memories come up. It is very important to treat yourself with a sense of graciousness, a sense of compassion as these things bubble up for you. And again, if you're beginning this work, if you haven't been doing this work for a while, there might be a lot that bubbles up in the beginning. And just be thankful that it's coming up, right? Better out than in. And that's what the process of yin yoga is really about, is being able to drop into your body in a way that allows you to feel safe so that you can start the healing process. Okay. So that was a lot of talk. And now we're going to get started with our class. So we're just going to do some very basic stretching, warming up first. And then we'll move into progressively deeper poses, longer holds, more breath work, okay? So we're going to sit here on our mats, facing the long ways of our mat. And we're just going to take a minute here to close our eyes and to really set an intention for this practice, right? This intention could be opening up. This intention could be finding more peace within ourselves, more spaciousness within ourselves. It could be more energy. It could be to work on the healing processes. Whatever it is for you, just take a minute. Take a couple of deep breaths in and out of your mouth. You can make that exhale sound as big as you want. Let's do 2 more breaths like that, in and out through your mouth. One more. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And we're going to start by sweeping the arms up to the sky and looking up. We're going to drop that left hand to the mat, and we're going to stretch that right arm up and over. You want to be really careful here to sink this right hip down onto your mat. So you don't want your hip popping up here so that you can stretch farther. Doesn't matter how far you stretch. This is a yoga video. There's nobody here watching or judging you. So make sure to keep that right hip anchored down while you stretch that right side body. Then we're going to switch sides. Bring your right hand down to the mat and sweep that left arm up and over, keeping that left hip sinking into the ground. Then we're going to bring that arm down to the mat. We're going to sweep our arms up to the sky, look up. And then we're going to take our right hand to our left knee, set up nice and tall, and we're going to twist to the left side. Just nice and gentle. With yin yoga, you don't necessarily want to stretch to your fullest capabilities. You want to be about 80% of your stretch range. And from that 80%, when you give it time, you'll find again that things open up for you and you're actually able to move deeper into those muscles with just a little bit of patience, a little bit of setting with yourself. And that's what this practice, somatic healing practices, are all about. So we're going to sweep our arms up to the sky again, look up, and we're going to take that left hand to the right knee, set up nice and tall, and twist. Give yourself some nice deep breathing here, in and out of your nose. All right, then we're going to come back to center, and we're going to come into butterfly pose. So you're going to bring your feet out right in front of your sacrum. Feet touching each other if you can. If you need to, give yourself some more space and move your feet farther away from your body. So you can kind of choose your adventure here. If you're very flexible, you might be able to have your feet very close to your sacrum. If you are less flexible, and no judgment there, then you just simply bring your feet farther away from your sacrum or your pelvis, okay? And we're just gonna flap our wings here, right? Flapping our wings for just another minute or two here. So when we do movements like this, it's called jostling, and it's actually a massage technique. And what it does is it kind of tricks your joints into relaxing. So any of this like rhythmic bouncing is really great for not only waking up the hips, but also loosening up those connections, okay? Now you can flap very slowly, or you can flap really big, really fast. Whatever your body is feeling in this moment is what I want you to do, okay? Just make sure you're setting up nice and tall. You want to bring your torso up. Make sure that you're setting on your sits bones. Remember that deep breath in and out through your nose. And now we're going to walk our hands forward, right? We're just walking our hands forward. What you want to watch out for here is a lot of people will round their back so that they can get farther down. But I want you to keep your spine straight, right? That's why just walking the hands forward can be really beneficial. You want to make sure that you're looking forward, that your chest is pointing forward in this pose. That way your back stays straight. It's the same thing when you do a downward facing dog. If you can keep your chest pointing forward, your head pointing forward, looking forward towards your hands, you typically will have some better alignment happening. So we're just going to take a minute or two here. This will be our first pose that we hold. And just remember to keep a hold of your breath in and out through your nose. If you forget, if you miss a breath, if you forget and breathe out your mouth, it's okay. No big deal. Again, that is the benefit of a video over a live class, is ain't nobody watching you. Just make sure to keep that back nice and straight, chest pointing forwards. And you might start to notice that your hips are loosening a little bit more. You can come deeper and further into the stretch. Keep breathing, keep sinking in. You can use your elbows to kind of push down your legs a little bit. You can come farther into the pose if that feels right. So if it feels right, come out of the pose for a minute and then come back into it. Sometimes our body needs that little adjustment to find its correct alignment. All right, then we're going to walk our hands back up towards the center. And we're going to take our legs out in front of us and just give them some nice shaking. You know, this is another one of those jostling techniques. Your hips are feeling really tight and you don't have the ability to stretch. Just do some jostling, right? You will be amazed at just how much of an impact that alone can make. All right, now we're going to go into a wide leg forward fold. In this position, I want you to take your legs out about as far as they can go. Again, you want to be about 80% of your total stretch. So you might be able to go a little bit farther, but don't go to your max capacity, okay? Allow it to open up. It's softness that opens things, not force. So give your body that softness, okay? So what we're going to do now is I'd like for you to kind of pull your butt cheeks back a little bit so that your hip bones have really good contact with the ground. And from that position, you're able to rise up a little bit more, okay? So you just kind of pull your butt back a little bit, pull your butt cheek back, and that will allow you a firmer seat, okay? So we're going to do something that I like to call stir the pot. But before we get into that, we are just going to make some nice circles with our feet. One way, and then another way. Bend and stretch the toes. All right. And now we're going to stir the pot, okay? So I really like to imagine when I'm doing this that I'm stirring my chi, stirring my energy. You're certainly stirring that sacral chakra when you're doing this, okay? So we're just going to make big sweeping motions with our hands, going from round in a circle. You can make these as big or as small as you like, as your body is telling you to do. It's one of the biggest things about a yoga practice is you start to develop a little bit of a language with your body. And you can tell when your body is out of alignment. And you can also know what you need to do to get back in alignment. So I like to think of yoga as a very empowering practice. All right, then we're going to reverse direction, go the other way. Go the other way. All right, then come to center. And we are going to sweep our right hand up to the sky and fold over that left leg. Again, you want to make sure this right hip is anchored to the ground so you're not coming way up here in an effort to reach your toes and missing the entire point of this pose, okay? So keep that right hip anchored to the ground. You can rest your head on your fist if you'd like, or just leave your arm down. You also look up towards your fingertips or ahead of you or down as well, whichever feels best for your neck, okay? And breathe. Try to bring that shoulder, the shoulder blade, down your back. All right, so you're squishing it down and back. If you're like me, sometimes you'll be doing these stretches and you'll get these nice, wonderful little self-adjustments that are amazing. All right, then we're going to come up to center. We're going to sweep that left arm up to the sky and come over to the right leg and fold over that right leg. You'll probably feel a lot of activation here in the side body on the left side. Just remember to keep anchoring that hip down, the left hip.
Remember to push that left shoulder down. Keep breathing. And then we're going to come up. Give yourself some nice neck rolls. First one way. And then another. Now look up to the ceiling while trying to drop your shoulder blades down. It's a good counteractive measure against all of the looking down that we do, either on our phones, computers, tablets, whatever the case might be. All right, so now we're going to set up nice and tall on those sits bones. And we're going to do the same thing we did with the butterfly pose, and we're just going to walk our hands forward, okay? Keeping the back nice and straight. If you need to make some adjustments with your legs, feel free to do that. Maybe you come out of the pose and then go back into the pose. Maybe you can take your legs a little wider, or maybe they need to come a little closer together. Whatever your body is saying that it needs from you, listen to it, right? It is communicating with us. Our bodies are so much more intelligent than we give ourselves credit for. It is always speaking to us. Unfortunately, sometimes that is through pain, which is one of its few opportunities to let us know what's going on in our body. But let's catch it before it gets to that point, right? That's kind of a last resort for the body and for the muscles. But if we can learn to listen to our bodies before it gets to that crisis point, that's where the real gold is. Just keep that breath nice and gentle in and out through your nose. And again, you might find that you're able to go a little deeper into the pose. Maybe your legs can move a little farther out now. Keeping that back nice and straight. Focus on those really deep breaths in and out through your nose. And if you want, you can do some more stretching for the neck in this pose. I'm all about multitasking. You can look over your right shoulder for a breath. And then you can look over the left shoulder for a breath. All right, let's do one more deep breath in and out through your nose. And then slowly, gently walk your way back up to center. Maybe take your hands behind you, lean back, push those shoulder blades together and down. Give yourself a nice deep breath here. And we're going to come back to center, and we're going to bring our legs back together, give them some more of that shaking, 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 shaking. Now we're going to bring our knees into our chest. Give yourself a nice little hug here. And then we're going to come into puppy dog position. So first we're going to come onto our hands and our knees. You want your knees to be underneath your hips, your hands to be underneath your shoulders roughly, okay? I like to be back towards the back edge of my mat for this. So come back until your feet are just about aligned with the bottom of your mat. Then bring your hands underneath your shoulders. And here we're going to do just a few cat and cows. So you're going to pull the mat away with your hands. There's a motion here, right? You're pulling away with your hands so that you can open your chest up. Look forward, chest open. And on the exhale, we're going to round down into cat pose, pushing the ground away with our knees and our hands, curving the back. And then we're going to come back to cow. So we're going to, again, drag the ground away so that we get this great opening in our chest. Look forward, chest forward, hips pointing up towards the sky. And then exhale, round your back into cat pose. Push the ground away. Push, push, push. And then come back to neutral. And now we're going to walk our hands forward here. So this is the little sister of downward facing dog. And what you want to do in this pose is just walk your hands forward until your forearms, your elbows are resting on the ground. Now we're going to take a moment here and keep our head up. Keep looking forward, chest forward as we sink into this pose. A couple of deep breaths here. In and out through your nose. And then we're going to come to rest our forehead on the ground, on our mat. Just keep breathing, nice, gentle, and slow. After the next out breath, we're going to walk our hands over to the left side of the mat. So just bring that right hand in line with the left side of the mat. And we're going to stay here for another few breaths, opening that right side body up a little bit more.
And then we're going to move our hands over to the right side of the mat. So your left hand will come in line with the right side of the mat. You might notice one side is tighter than the other. That is totally normal. Our body tries so hard to balance itself for us. Take a moment and be thankful for your body and for all it does for you. On your next exhale, come back to center. And then come onto your knees, walk your hands back, and come back to setting on your knees. Give yourself a moment here to feel, to roll the shoulders. First one way, and then the other way. Kind of shake, 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 shake. Get yourself a little shaky, shaky, which is harder to do in the shoulder joints than it is in the hip joint. All right, now we're going to come to our bellies on the mat and do what is one of my favorite poses. Now, this pose is called open wing, and it's a really powerful shoulder opening pose, okay? So if you're really flexible, you'll be able to do the full twist with this. If you are not very flexible or you've got some pain issues going on in your neck and shoulders, you might not be able to go as far into this pose, but this is my number one pose for all shoulder neck problems. That's shoulder problems, that's headaches, whatever the case might be. If that is something that you struggle with on a regular basis, this pose is gold for you, okay? So we're going to start off with being fully on our bellies. And then we're going to bring our hands out in front of us. Elbows slightly bent at the wrist. Shift yourself over to the right side of your mat. And you're going to bring this shoulder, the left shoulder, up into a little bit of a cactus position. So I'm going to set up so that you can see what I'm talking about. You're going to have your arm in this position. Palm on the mat, elbow bent 90 degrees. Okay, we'll do this on both sides, but right now we're working on the left side. Okay, so this is your position on the ground. All right, so you're going to come onto your belly, shift your body over to the right side of your mat, bring that left arm into that cactus position, bending the elbow at 90 degrees, 90 angle, 90 degrees. And then we're simply going to roll our body, bend your knees, roll your body to the left. Now, if you're very, very flexible, you can go ahead and do a full twist. So that means that your knees will keep twisting to the left. If you're like most people with this particular area of your body, we're not that flexible, and this is a yin class. So we're just going to leave our knees bent, pointing, knees, toes pointing to the right side of the mat, okay?
This should feel like a very intense stretch in the pec, the chest area particularly, which is where most people's problems come from when they're dealing with neck and shoulder issues, okay? So this is an intense pose. I really urge you to stick with it and just breathe, okay? In and out through your nose. The intensity, unless it's explicitly painful, doesn't mean that you shouldn't do this pose. It actually means the opposite, that this is your pose. So if this is an intense one for you, remember this pose. Because if you do this pose on a daily basis, you'll have a huge reduction of tension, neck pain, headaches. So give it a try. Again, this is one of my favorite poses. I really struggle with neck and shoulder issues. And keep breathing in and out through your nose. You might need to adjust your hips a little bit. You might need to adjust your legs to give yourself a nice base. And that's okay. Whatever adjustments you need to make is exactly what you should do for your body. Just keep breathing. Keep adjusting if you need. Make yourself comfortable so that you can really devote some time to the stretch. All right, bring your knees down and roll back onto your belly. Push yourself up into cobra pose just for a minute here. Opposite reaction. And feel the difference between the two sides of your shoulders. You might need to give your neck a little stretch here from side to side, nice and gentle. And then we're going to do the other side. So we're going to shift our body towards the left side of the mat. And we're going to bring that right hand, arm out, bend the elbow at 90 degrees into that cactus arm shape. And we're just going to do the same thing we did on the other side of the body. So I'm going to come down to the ground. We're going to bend our knees. And then we're just going to flip to the left side of the mat. Flip our knees and our feet are pointing towards the left side of the mat. And breathe. Again, you might notice one side is a lot tighter than the other side, and that is totally normal. It's just your body's way of trying to correct itself. See, on this side, I can stretch a lot farther than on the other side. And that's okay. So if you can do more ones on one side than the other, that's totally fine. The pose might look different depending on what side of the body it's on. It might look different from day to day. One day you might be able to stretch really deep into a pose. The next time you go to your mat, you might not be able to. And that's okay. There's an acceptance about wherever we're at that day, at that time, in that moment. So like that saying, wherever you go, there you are.
More deep breaths in and out through the nose. Okay. Now straighten your legs back out and roll back onto your belly, shifting back over to the center of the mat. And this time let's do Sphinx pose. So your elbows are still bent 90 degrees. Bring the elbow underneath the shoulder right there. And with Sphinx pose, you're going to bring your chest, your head, and look forward. Also with Sphinx pose, the same when we do a cow pose, we're kind of going to drag the mat back a little bit. Do you see what happens with my shoulders there? If I just do this versus dragging my elbows back, you really get a lot of opening here. So again, you're not stretching to your fullest capacity, just opening the shoulders a little bit. And release. Give yourself some more neck stretching, looking over one shoulder. Breathing in the nose deeply and exhale out the nose. And then switching sides to the other shoulder, looking over the other shoulder now. Breathing in deeply and exhaling. Then we're going to come back onto our knees. And just take a moment here to feel the body. You might need to make some circles with your neck, your shoulders. Whatever feels right for your body. What feels good? What stretches do you do? What movements do you make where you're like, ooh, that's nice. As a sacral being, I always get those, that feels good. Most people are sacral beings. Honestly, a huge majority of us are. But if you're not a sacral being, you might have another response, right? Another way that you know that pose is for you. That's what you need. It's that satisfied moment. So we're going to bring our feet out in front of us, feet pointing towards the front of our mat, knees bent, and we're going to bring our hands just slightly behind our hips here. Fingertips pointing towards the front of your mat. Okay? So we're going to do a reverse tabletop, another one of my favorite neck and shoulder stretches. And to do this, we are simply just going to push up your hands and our feet and push our hips up to the sky, okay? So on the inhale, push up. Exhale. Stretch your shoulders open. Stretch your chest open. Squeeze those shoulder blades together and down. You'll notice this huge opening that can happen in the chest when you do that. And even during the day, when you don't have your mat, you don't have time to do yoga, you can always stretch your shoulder blades together and down, and that will pop your chest open. That will give you a little bit more breathing space. One more inhale. And on your next inhale, bring your hips back down to the mat. Bring your feet out in front of you. And we're going to roll down on our backs. And we're going to inhale and bring our knees into our chest. Keeping your knees together. Drop your knees to the left side of your mat, to the left of your body. And we're going to sweep into a twist. So you want to bring that right arm out into a T. And we're going to either look straight up at the ceiling or sky, or you can look towards the left side. So you always want to look in a twist towards the side that you have your knees bent on. And we're just going to breathe here. In and out through the nose. And we're going to bring our knees back up towards center. And we'll drop them to the right side of the mat. Right, just the right side. And bring that hand, the left hand, arm out into a T. And again, you can either look at the ceiling or turn your head to look towards the same side that your knees are bent on. And breathe. Drop that shoulder down. All right. Your legs back up to center. And come into a comfortable position for Savasana. And let it all go. Let the breath go. Let your practice go now. Let your to-do list go. Your busy schedule. Just for a moment. And for this moment, just really sink into the body. Feel the ground underneath you, supporting you, holding you. Feel the changes that this practice has brought. Maybe you've got more blood flow, more energy flow. Maybe you can tell a particular set of muscles needs to be stretched more. That's great. It's great information. Whatever it is that you're feeling, just acknowledge it and then let it go. there are any thoughts, emotions, memories that came up for you during this practice, take a moment to examine them, acknowledge them, and then let those go too. Message delivered. Savasana is the most important part of any yoga practice. It is the most crucial step, and the step that we often miss, thinking that it's lazy or it's not doing anything for us. But in fact, that's all the asanas ever were meant to be. That's all the poses were ever meant to be, was preparation for savasana, for meditation. The asanas are a wonderful tool, but it's a tool to get you here. So sink into it. Sink into the ground. Sink into yourself. And see it for the miraculous, wonderful thing that you and it are. You can stay in this practice in Savasana for as long as you'd like. But if you're ready or need to go about your day, start by gently wiggling your toes, your fingers. Give yourself a nice little stretch. Bring the arms up above the head and just let them rest here for a minute. This is another one of those very simple but impactful stretches you can do, even outside of your yoga practice. And now we're going to come to the right side of our body, rolling onto our side. And then setting up into a seated position. Let's re-examine that intention that we set. And let's take that intention with us on the rest of our day. So whatever it was, I hope that you've achieved that in this practice and that you go on achieving it throughout the day. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.